to tell the world about it, that what's coming, plan for it, take advantage of it. Nothing wrong with being a capitalist and making a little money on this, but we're finding that capitalism can solve problems. And then we really reach a weird point sometime in the not too distant future that we actually have to worry about capitalism doesn't work because we will have solved the problems that capitalism was put together to solve, and money won't be that important. Then what are we going to do? Go back to school. Why are you going back to school? To get a better job? No, you don't need a better job. What are you going to do? Well, I could exercise more. That one makes some sense. But by the way, we've come up with a drug, and when you take it, you no longer age. Are you still going to exercise? Well, yeah, probably, because it's fun. I like the outdoors. Okay, there. Now we're getting somewhere.
Right.
But the future's not what you saw on TV, and but it makes sense that the trends that have served us well this far are going to continue to help. And people trends, man. I just thought of this. Thank you. I've had an epiphany of the people trends of being able. It's always been that if I care about people, I get more reward out of it than they do. And the more you give, the more you get. All of that good, golden rule has not changed. And Christians call it golden rule, but it's in all religions and philosophies. You do for others, and it's good. It's better to give than to receive. And, we were taught this, and then we learn about business or careers, and it's like, well, I've got to edge out and beat the other person and kill my competition. And it's just, we don't need any of that stuff. It's just a game we're playing. What we really need is to give and feel that the high there is from, that you get from the good days when you're raising children. By the way, raising grandchildren, much better.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, they don't sleep at my house.
Right.
There's just so much joy that you can spread and share, and the I don't know, the dopamine or whichever chemical it is. It's a high. And I seriously mean it. I didn't when I came up with this saying, my house can burn down and it's a new story to tell, but that's the truth. If we are all in some matrix hooked up to a tube and just think about this life as a dream, it's still the doing good, receiving good works. By the way, that's the way they say it in Thai. Tum di dai di, tum chua dai chua. It means do good, receive good, do evil, receive evil.
Okay.
For anyone who speaks Thai, excuse my accent. It's been 40 years since I've lived in Thailand.
Sure. Great. Well,
great.
I was going to say,
did we cover everything?
We have covered so much information. I feel like I could have a separate hours of conversations just on each of these topics. But I think this has been an absolute fantastic introduction of your philosophies, how you look at things, how people can kind of mirror and look at how you have navigated the world and ways that they can also kind of take from your example and find ways that they can also follow in your footsteps, look at the future, different industries. I think this has been fantastic. If the listeners would like to read more about what you're working on, or follow you online, or read more about the foundation you've started and other projects you're on, where are the best places they can go to do that?
Well, I'm Warren Whitlock, WARREN, WHITLOCK, and that's my .com website, and I'm on social media all over the place. I'm best known for writing a book about Twitter back in 2008, the first book on the subject, and so I tweet me at Warren Whitlock, and find me on LinkedIn and my website, and Google me. I'm out there, and reach out. And what I like best is that somebody tweets me and asks me a question. I do not. I will not feel bad if you tell me that it was the most wonderful interview ever when you tweet me, but you don't have to. I'm much more interested in getting a question, seeing how I can help.
Sure.
And, you know, if you ask me to give you a shout out, you're wasting your time and mine. My shout out is not going to change your life. And I'm going to tell you that. And by the way, that is a shout out. If I use your name in a tweet, doesn't matter what I say.
Right.
And that's the good of doing that. And yeah, do talk to people like me. Most people I know that are, you know, post social media famous are very good at handling input like that. So I now regularly, if I subscribe to a newsletter and it's from a person, I hit reply and talk to them. And I know right away, you know, if they don't respond within, sometimes it's minutes, but, you know, they could have a mailing go out to 100,000 people and I hit reply and talk to them and they answer back. And I've got some great relationships with people I did that. The guy that started CD Baby.
Oh, yeah.
That guy. Oh, great guy. And he'll answer if I send him email. Seth Godin has answered my email. You know, and just people I just decided to talk to. Tom Peters, one of the greatest philosophers of business ever. The guy who made it so that when your mission statement says we strive for excellence, he's the guy that came up with putting that word in thing. From 1980 book In Search of Excellence, one of the all-time best-selling books on the topic, and usually laughed at now because the companies profiled in the book are half gone. But you know, and he describes that in other books as being, that's it, change is happening faster. And he'll use bold print that's, you know, 36 points right in the middle of a paragraph because that he wanted to emphasize the word, and he'll repeat the same thing and things you wouldn't do. And he's a friend on Twitter. And I was just in awe. And by the way, he did the thing to me that I probably have done to others, but I'm not that famous. And he said, I said, I've always been a fan. And that's, I think, the only time he didn't answer. Maybe coincidence, but don't go up to people and say, I've always wanted to meet you. I'm such a big fan. It's okay. I mean, people like that, but ask them a question. It's amazing how often people see me. I've got a picture of me with 3 of the sharks, Shark Tank, and people will ask me whether or not I can get them in touch with one of those people. I can't, by the way. I would tell you how to do it if you really wanted to do that, but usually it peters out very fast. You know, I promoted books for a long time as you know, that was my career 15 years ago. And did a whole bunch of them. And hundreds of times I've had an author tell me that, you know, she wants to get on Oprah. And again, it's an old story because Oprah doesn't have it'd be Ellen today for those of you who don't know who Oprah is.
Right.
Are there people that don't know who Oprah is?
I don't, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, there might be.
Ellen,
yeah.
Before Ellen, there was an Oprah show. And at the time people would say, you know, and I just learned to ask them this question. So if let's just assume that if Oprah saw your book and read a bit of it, you wouldn't need to worry about getting booked on the show. She'd be calling you. You know, let's assume that for a moment. Your book is so good that she's going to single you out and find you. That, you know, we'll just forget that the show probably gets 100 book submissions a day, and it really matters on whether or not you're a good guest, not whether or not your book is that great. But let's just assume that. What would you do next? And it just would fall apart. People just didn't have any goal. Well, by the way, the book's not finished yet. Well, then why do you want me to hook you up with Oprah? Another one, by the way, in case you're wondering, I can't hook you up with Oprah. I can tell you how to do it, but you know, it involves a lot of money and time, and people just don't do it. And I guess that's you know, let's part ways on that piece of advice. You can get anything you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want and have the commitment to go ahead and follow through and actually do that. You know, if you have $1 billion idea, you've got to get people to buy the $1 billion idea. before you make the $1 billion. We don't just see the idea, despite what it says on TV about Silicon Valley. We don't just listen to your idea and go, oh, that's great. Here's a check for $1 billion.
Right. Excellent. Again, Warren, so thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I will put the links to your website in the show notes so people can click right through to warrenwhitlock.com and follow what you're working on, follow your tweets, and get in touch with you if they like.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Advance Your Art podcast. If you like this episode, please go into iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button so that every single time I release a new episode, it will go directly to you without even thinking about it. If you're interested in hearing older episodes, please go to advanceyourart.com where you can find the catalog of everything I've done so far, as well as contact information and projects I'm working on. Thank you again, and have a great day.